Hey everyone, Adil here, and welcome to the November edition of the Surroundup. I have two special guests with me here today, Arman, our oldest, and Zain, our new addition. As many of you know, Tammy and I recently welcomed our second baby boy in under 2 years. His name is Zain, and it means beauty and grace. I want to thank you all for the kind messages and the well wishes. Kids and mom are all well, except for the fact that someone always seems to be sick. I can't lie, it's chaos around here, despite what it may look like, but we're having fun. Now, back to business. Every market correction has similarities to a previous correction, but carries with it its own unique flavor, and the current market downturn is no exception. Media headlines tend to highlight the exciting rise and fall of the stock market, but in most cases avoids the boring bond market. This year, however, the real surprise hasn't been the drawdown in the stock market, but instead the bond market. Now, I'm not trying to downplay the drop in equity markets, but every so often, you should expect large swings both up and down. That's the risk you assume when becoming an owner of a company. Bond investors, on the other hand, expect a much calmer experience. First, let's take a step back and explain what is a bond, also known as fixed income, and how do they work. In the case of bonds, you are not an owner, but rather a lender. You lend your money to a company, and that company has the obligation to pay you interest at a fixed rate. Now, in terms of how stocks and bonds interact with each other inside a portfolio, typically as stocks fall, the value of your bonds rise, and vice versa. They're supposed to be inversely correlated. This way, bonds provide protection. You're hedging your risk. As one goes up, the other goes down. That's what's different this year. Not only are stocks plummeting, but bonds are as well. Therefore, there is no protection. To put things in perspective, US government bonds are facing their worst annual return since 1788. And depending on which type of bond index you're looking at, it's down anywhere from 12 to 20%. That's compared to the more typical swings of up or down a few percentage points. That's the surprise, the difference maker, and that's the underlying theme this year. Now, it's not all bad news. We're now at the point where we are closer to the end of raising rates than we are to the beginning. It took some pain to get here, but we are finally at the point where savers can actually earn a return without taking on much risk. This is something we haven't experienced in 10 plus years. Finally, your high interest savings account, your GIC, your bond fund can pay you something. The Assante High Interest Savings Fund, for example, earns a net return of 4.01%. I've never been able to say that. Look, bear markets are never any fun to live through, but every stock market correction in history has been an opportunity if you're able to zoom out. The young investor who's saving on a regular basis not only has time on their side, but they are buying companies on sale. The retired investor has not only experienced a decade of strong returns, but in most cases, there are likely a number of years ahead to invest. Not to mention that retirees now have the opportunity to add income to their portfolio in a way that simply hasn't been available in well over a decade. Now is the time to ignore the noise, zoom out, do the things you enjoy, and focus on the things you can control. Remember, over time, your investment performance will mainly be derived from how you handle corrections, bear markets, and market crashes. During every single bear market, there will be times when you wonder if the losses will ever stop. You'll always wonder how much lower the market can go. The economic news will be terrible. Other investors around you will be depressed. Pessimism becomes pervasive. Having the discipline to stick with a good plan, even when it doesn't feel right, is an underappreciated skill set. Well, that's it for this edition of the Surroundup. Remember, there's more than one way to wealth. Got it? Hey!